entire population is going to be looking at environmental education.
I'll show you the facility that we use to test these structures. It's basically a big hydraulic shake table that simulates an earthquake.
It's a habitat restoration and enhancement program in Surrey.
Hi and welcome to the Sustainable Region. A red barn like this isn't something you would typically see on your morning commute, but it is part of our urban landscape. In today's show, we're going to see how agriculture and urban living come together as I explore the Country Celebration Fall Fair in Langley. Our stories today focus on youth in action and how a number of young Lower Mainlanders are helping to create a sustainable region. Learning about sustainability is the first step, and that's what's happening near here, where 91 students are attending a unique school.
This is the first school of its kind in BC where the entire population is going to be looking at environmental education. We are situated in the southernmost point of Langley, and we are right connected to Campbell Valley Regional Park.
About 2 years ago now, the school was in some jeopardy of closure. It was an opportunity to create something new that would perhaps attract additional students and create a growth plan for the school. There was a small core team of parents that helped put together a proposal around a new direction for the school on an environmental theme.
We were looking at ways, how can we make education something that has value to the students. Students have a natural sort of affinity towards nature, towards animals. And so we thought, well, this would be a natural and a neat way to sort of inspire the kids to want to learn.
Okay, everyone just step back a bit, give them a bit of space.
We thought, why don't we utilize what we've got in this neighborhood and right next door to the school? Why don't we make this sort of a bit of a learning ground?
We're heading to the ponds where we planted some shrubs and trees. It's because part of park etiquette is we leave everything alone at the park.
The GVRD became our first and most important partner, if you like, in terms of trying to leverage that asset and to develop joint programs and to really formalize our partnership, but also to work specifically on how we would use the park starting immediately, and ideally to have the GVRD benefit as well from some of the programs that we develop here.
It's making a difference in the park. We really foster park etiquette.
We're going to let this go.
We don't go into the park to collect a bunch of things and bring it back. We don't want to even collect leaves and bring them back because those leaves still serve a purpose in that park.
Didn't you see deer tracks?
Mr. B, is there any more of those little
Right here.
The challenge is to develop an environmental focus and still ensure that you're delivering the ministry requirements for core curriculum. What our philosophy is the fact that we can deliver core curriculum more effectively through making it more hands-on and real-world, real-life learning. The opportunities to study on the basis of environmental experiments and to do measurements of things that the students are actually feeling and touching, we felt that in that way we're actually adding to the delivery of standard curriculum as opposed to creating a challenge or a trade-off. And the district has been very supportive of looking at that as a new model, if you like, in terms of enhancing the delivery of standard curriculum.
We're just in the park looking at wildlife and doing science tests and stuff. Like last year we did it like at the end of the year pretty often, but I think we're doing it this year a bit more often because we're like officially an environmental school.
Our idea is that once the students have been in the school for a number of years, and as their skills develop, by the time they graduate from elementary school in grade 7, they will be able to go out to the community and share.
The school can play an important role to develop a resource for the community here, and we look at that in the ability to forge partnerships with key groups that are interested in some of the same environmental issues that the school is going to be active in. And those groups include the GVRD, Langley Environmental Partners Society. But if nothing else, we want to create students that have a very strong sense of stewardship and a very good understanding of the issues of sustainability and the pressures on the environment.
Let's face it, some of us haven't done necessarily as a society a great job in the past in taking care of our planet. And so the hope is that some of these kids, when they grow up and become adults and, and play a role in our society, that they're going to remember what they did here at our South Carvalho Environmental School and then have a real compassion and caring about making a difference.
Look for the Check It Out program guide in your local library or on the website www.gvrd.bc.ca, or you can call 604-432-6200. Welcome back to the Langley Country Celebration Fall Fair, and as you can see, it's still a little bit wet out here, but there's still lots to do. And what fair would be complete without the GVRD Sustainability Squad? They're here featuring agriculture in the classroom. There's a barn game for kids to play with, and for those who like to horse around, they can measure their height in hands. I'm here with Lindsay Babineau, who has partnered up with the GVRD to connect agriculture and classrooms. Hi, Lindsay.
Hi.
So tell me, why is it so important to teach students about agriculture?
Students these days are very disconnected from their food and from agriculture in general. They're really not very aware of where their food comes from. And in order for us to have well-informed young people, we really need to connect them back to agriculture and to the food, to the customs, to the science around agriculture, and make them really aware of what's happening out there.
So how is this agriculture in the classroom program delivered to the students?
We work with the teachers. The teachers we're finding are also very disconnected. We're now 2 and 3 generations away from the farm. So we've realized that if we create the tools the teachers need to bring agriculture to their students, then they're very comfortable with it. We do provide them with professional development opportunities. We take, for example, 20 teachers to a farm during the summertime, and we completely immerse them in agriculture. They then learn how to bring agriculture into whatever part of the curriculum they're teaching, whether it be kindergarten all the way through to grade 12. We all love to eat, we all love food, and when you can connect food to learning, kids really respond beautifully.
Thanks for your time, Lindsay.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to meet some spirited Vancouver youth who are learning about the environment and making a difference at the same time.
I got involved helping youth. It was an ethic that was put into me at an early age. I was involved in Boy Scouts and started as a leader when I was 16 years of age and have worked with youth ever since. Today we're going to see 2 things in Pacific Spirit Park. One is the results of stream restoration and the youth working on continuing maintaining a restoration project in the stream with the Stream Keepers organization.
Okay. This stuff
We're also going to take a look at Camosun Bog, and we have a group, Camosun, we call them the Crazy Boggers, or they call themselves that. In fact, the Camosun Bog was really our initial focus for this program, to pick something that all of the kids would be interested in. GVRD has been extremely supportive in terms of offering all of the operations support, some administration support. Also, this year they've taken a big step. One of the difficult things we've had in the last 3 years of running this program is finding money to hire a coordinator. And GVRD stepped up this year, and they've picked that up. The way we design the program is that we go to all of these groups, and Stream Keepers being one, the Camosun Bog group being another, the Trail Initiatives group being another, the Vegetation Management group being another one. And we approach them and say, give us some projects for the young people. What makes this program unique is it's a program that's run by the youth for the youth, and they get to design the program, they get to do all of the organization, and they get to run it, evaluate it themselves, and then adjust it. And the program changes literally day to day as the program runs.
We're actually pulling out some salal, I forget what it's called, but yeah, salal, and we have to take it out and plant some new stuff in.
There's a huge social aspect with this program. What happens is the kids come in, they're from every ethnic background, every social background, they're from all of the communities, and once they arrive on site, there's a very leveling thing that occurs. It doesn't matter where the kids come from. They learn to respect themselves, and that's part of the motto. They learn to respect themselves. What they have to say is important because we have this constant exchange between the young people. How can we fix this? What do we want to do? So they feel right away they're accepted by everybody. There's this neutral thing. They learn to work together in a group. Incredible for leadership, giving respect for themselves, respect for others, and of course the third part of the theme is respect for Mother Earth or nature.
I'm here for many reasons. One, I'm interested in education. Two, I think it's good for kids to be here. Three, I think it's important for someone who knows about botany and stuff to oversee things like this and teach kids, like, what do you guys get when you are good? What do you guys get?
Plants?
Yeah. Actually, it was Aftab's idea, and he said, I'm working so hard. Don't I get anything? And I thought, okay. How about a plant? He's like, that's fine. So that's what it was actually his idea. So it was the kids' idea to get a plant.
I want the kids to get a new experience. They're playing ice hockey or they're playing computer games and all that kind of stuff, and they don't really get a chance to come into the real environment, which is in like parks and trees, forests, and that type. And that's why here.
Salmon streams, graveling trails. They've cut new trails in areas where they want to keep people away from sensitive areas. They've built protective fencing to keep dogs and people out of streams. Just a myriad of projects they've done. So those give an ongoing benefit to the community.
There will be signs around here that will say that the kids have done something. So when they see that, okay, the kids have done something, it's pretty good, I think. They're involved, they're actually doing something, you know?
What do fish and farms have in common? Lots, as many salmon-bearing streams run through farms and neighborhoods in Greater Vancouver. The efforts of some Surrey teens involved in agricultural stewardship are playing an important role in developing a sustainable habitat for salmon.
It's a habitat restoration and enhancement program, and the major objective is to provide habitat for salmon to spawn in Surrey.
All right guys, so let's get the tools and the plants out of the truck and we'll load them right up over here.
The secondary objective of the program is to provide employment for youth in high school and in university.
We are in North Surrey, just south of 104th Avenue, at the end of a cul-de-sac in a very nice residential area. Today we're going to finish construction of the fish ladders that we started yesterday. We started with invasive removal. This whole area was covered with blackberries, and we spent the day clearing that out and clearing out a lot of debris that was plugging the culvert. And today we're going to be finishing with all the rock.
Fortunately, during the development of Surrey, people were thinking far enough in advance about streamways and making sure that they weren't covered over, that now it's become a priority to keep them living and functioning streams. A lot of the smaller streams throughout Surrey, like for example drainage ditches, or what you see here at Gibson Brook, are just running by people's homes.
There's wild salmon in this part of the creek.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're surprised, yeah.
Basically, the only problem with this creek was this culvert. And it's too high for the water level, so we have to build up steps. When the fish come up, they'll be able to jump into each pool and then get into the culvert.
Learned a lot on the job so far. A lot of in-field experience with building rock weirs and just seeing what plants are native, what plants are invasive and we need to remove.
How does this compare to whatever else you've worked at?
This is awesome. I love it. It's better than anything I've ever had. So.
After you're an egg.
The Community Industrial Education Team is responsible for going out into the community and educating people about sharp and also about salmon habitat.
Yeah, what are these stripes called?
Stripe!
Oh.
They're actually called par marks.
Yeah. They're available for the public to come across them at community events, like for example the Cloverdale Rodeo or Canada Day. The industrial education component of the team involves people in Sharp actually going around to local business owners, and they'll actually approach the private business owners and talk to them about proper ecological practice.
When the rains start coming back, late September, October, the water will increase and fill the pools up. We finished this one step pool here, and we continued on and built two more. So now, and we completely cleared up the culvert. So once the culvert gets cleared, all the water will start coming down and will fill up each pool.
We have seen very real results from the work that's being done. Some people whose property that we've worked on who've reported that they have 10 to 40 fish coming back each year when there wasn't any fish in their streams before.
Now we're finishing the planting because after we cleared all the blackberry out, we have all this nice open area, so we're going to try and revegetate. It's really interesting once you see the water, like our working.
You can never do enough work. There's always more development and there's always more influence on the local ecosystems. The work that we're doing does have influence, so the more people that are involved, the better.
Find out about sustainability in action at the GVRD's website, gvrd.bc.ca. Learn how the GVRD is integrating economic, social, and environmental perspectives and working to build a sustainable region. Coming up, Suzanne Hepburn looks into how this could become a staple of sustainable home building in the region.
Hi and welcome to Ask an Expert. I'm Suzanne Hepburn. Learning new ways of building is essential for us to create a sustainable way of life in Greater Vancouver. Efficiencies in design can reduce energy use and increase the health of buildings. Sometimes, though, we need to look to the past in order to realize the future, which is why I'm here at Stanley Park, where a very old technology is being reinterpreted for our climate. It's called COB, and Christy Tataby is the project coordinator. Hi, Christy.
Hi, Suzanne.
So who are you people?
Well, we're the Stanley Park Ecology Society, and we exist to connect people with nature. And we do that by offering a variety of different educational programs to the public and by furthering sustainability here in Stanley Park. Our latest project that we're really excited about is our new popcorn stand built out of cob.
What is cob?
Cob is a mixture of clay, sand, and straw. Basically, it's a type of earthen building that's been used for centuries and originated in Britain. And it's just starting to get a revival here in North America. So it's an entirely sustainable method of building.
Where did the idea to build this with cob come from?
Well, the Ecology Society needed a new popcorn stand, and they decided, because of the high traffic location in Stanley Park here, that it would be a great opportunity to build a sustainable demonstration building. And so we thought, well, why not cob? It's something that's just starting to catch on and not many people know about it.
Oh, wow, it's lovely.
Yeah, it's quite unique. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Now the walls look really thick. Why is that?
Well, for a number of reasons. One, structurally they have to hold up the load of the roof, which is going to be a planted green roof, so it's going to be about 2 tons, so that's quite a lot of force. So they're thick to support that. As well, cob has a really high thermal mass, so they'll absorb heat during the day and release it back in the evening, which keeps the interior temperature really constant.
You mentioned a living rooftop. What is that?
A living roof is actually a roof that's planted with native vegetation. So it's kind of like a rooftop garden, except people don't go on it, and it's basically a living ecosystem on the roof. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it looks nice. It creates a really beautiful, interesting looking building. Secondly, it keeps the heat down in the summer, so the plants absorb a lot of the heat and use it for photosynthesis and that. It also actually stops a lot of the rainwater runoff.
How would a cob house hold up under a lot of rain?
No, everybody asks that, of course, obviously, because in Vancouver we get a lot of rain. The British have a saying that if you give a building a good hat and good boots, it'll last for a lifetime. And so in Britain there's buildings that have good stone foundations and large roof overhangs, and they tend to last hundreds and hundreds of years.
What about the other big preoccupation of Vancouverites, the earthquake situation? We live in a really earthquake-prone environment, so how does cob hold up under that?
Right, well, let's go have a look.
Okay.
We're here at UBC Civil and Mechanical Engineering, and I'll show you the facility that we use to test these structures. It's basically a big hydraulic shake table that simulates an earthquake. So we construct a model and put it onto the table and then shake it around and see how it does. So let's go see that. So this is the UBC Earthquake Engineering Laboratory, and they're doing a test right now. This is they're recording data actually from the sensors that are on the roof, different forces. And this earthquake that they're putting it through right now is actually about a magnitude 7.2 on the Richter scale. And it was a quake that happened in the Mojave Desert in California. Just for some reference, the big one that they're expecting here in Vancouver is going to be about a 9. So this one here is about 7. It's a little shallower and closer to the surface, so it's a bit different than what we can expect up here. But it gives us a bit of an idea how cob might perform under a similar sort of quake. Yeah. You can see there's a whole bunch of people here that have helped build the model for us, and they really were interested to see how it was going to perform. Everyone's put a lot of themselves into this. There's also the gentleman in the purple shirt. That's Dr. Carlos Ventura of UBC Civil Engineering, and he's graciously donated the lab and his time and all of his staff for this, so we're really, really appreciative of that.
We're going to switch now to a different type of earthquake that is going to shake the house more severely. That's about 2 Gs of acceleration there.
2G, is that typical of a quake?
That's a very extreme level of shaking. We have seen 2 Gs in certain earthquakes, so it's not unusual to see that, but very extreme, right? And are we going to see 2 Gs here in BC? Very unlikely. It's possible, but very unlikely.
Pretty severe.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why we run the first earthquake, which is a more likely earthquake to happen.
Wow, so that was pretty encouraging. That was pretty extreme shaking that it withstood, so that's good to see. Yeah, so let's head back to Stanley Park.
Wow, that was really fascinating, Christy.
Yeah.
So the house back there was quite a bit different than this. Why is that?
Yeah, well, this hasn't got the exterior plaster on it yet. There will be a finishing plaster on it, so it'll be all smooth. You won't see these little bits of straw sticking out.
How practical is cob as a building material?
I think it's really practical, actually. It's very low cost if you can find the materials locally. And the only downside is probably the labor involved. We mixed all of the cob mix that went into this building by foot in small batches. Actually, there's no machinery involved. If you have a lot of friends, it can be pretty practical, actually.
So who did build this house?
We had about 200 community volunteers that came out to help us build this, which was really amazing. They ranged from student groups to families, grandparents. We also had a team of at-risk youth that were employed with us by the Environmental Youth Alliance, and they spent their summer building this as their summer job as well. So it was a real community project.
Is Cobb up to building code?
Right now it's not. We're working with the city to develop building code. This building, because it's less than 100 square feet, is okay because it doesn't need to be permitted. But we're hoping that the results of the earthquake test that we saw today will actually help inform and develop a building code with the city.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed our look at Cobb. It might be coming to a neighborhood near you. If you've got a question you'd like an expert to answer, or somewhere you've always wondered about, please give us a call at 604-436-6794, or you can email us at thesustainableregion@gvrd.bc.ca. You can also check out the GVRD website to find out more about sustainable building practices in the Lower Mainland at www.buildsmart.ca. I'm Suzanne Hepburn. I'll see you next time.
Well, that's our look at agriculture and youth in action. We would like to hear from you, so please contact us to suggest topics you're interested in or to ask an expert a question that's been bugging you. You can call us at 604-436-6794 or email us at sustainableregion@gvrd.bc.ca. I'm Kulchi Kayla, and I'll see you next time.